The camper, you bastard.
Yeah, y'all. They say here. We have another queen in the building. You heard me?
Absolutely.
From the King's Council bloodline. You know what I'm saying? My sister, right? From my firstborn, oldest. You know what I mean? The one who led by example for me to know what's real and what's not real in this world. You know what I mean? She's just like another mom to me. She's like my second mom. You know what I mean? She was right there raising me. I was right there around her all my life growing up. So, you know what I mean? A lot of my nuances and things come from her. And, you know, she's here today as a special guest to give y'all some insight from the woman's perspective. You know what I mean? You know, what to look for, what not to look for in this prime companionship that we all striving to have, you know what I'm saying, in this lifetime with each other. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, so we thank you and congratulate you and give you your flowers and everything that you're doing for making it this far and living and being a part of us here at the King's Council.
Thank you
You
so
know,
much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your show.
yes, Evrin, that's my older sister. In case y'all didn't know, I know
Big
many of y'all.
Sister E.
Yeah, if y'all, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's like if you don't remember Evelyn, that's definitely remember Eve.
So thank you, you know what I'm saying, for being a part of us and allowing us to pick your brain and give people some insight to help them, you know, along the way is one of the gifts from God that we trying to, you know, express and spread love to everybody here. So, you know what I mean? We thank you, mama. Really.
Yeah.
And
Get into
Thank
it.
you.
Like, what is it that we actually want to know? Like, what is it that?
this is what we doing. So in this episode, right, we talking about, of course, relationships, but like I said, it's one being comfortable with yourself whole all the way through in it and you know, not taking any mess in it, not, you know what I'm saying, settling for things that's not benefiting you and all of that, and making sure it helps you come into your prime as an adult, a human being, as a important person right now in these times. You know what I mean? No matter what your age is, no matter what you're going through, past, present, future, right now. You know what I mean? You in your prime. You know, whether in whatever age group, whatever, you know, tax bracket, whatever you're doing socially, geopolitically, whatever, you're in your prime because God woke you up day in, day out, allowing you to do things day in, day out at a high level. And if you can't see that, can't understand that, you know what I'm saying, then that's on you. But for those who can, we want to talk about how, you know what I mean, you should be looking for somebody to help you out, a companion, because people nowadays, you know, we lighten the load with our companions and have strong support systems. That's the only way you're gonna get strong people.
All right.
And you know, we break down you know into three main categories for this of prime companionship on this episode. And we wanted to get, you know, some insight from, like I said, a woman's perspective, somebody who's gone through ups and downs in relationships, somebody who's been, you know what I'm saying, headstrong in them no matter what. I don't want you to run, you know, rampant because there's three bases that we think and trying to theorize that sum up more or less prime companionship, what you should be looking in to that person for, how you should be looking into yourself for. And one of the first main things we want, you know what I mean, to point out is the respect factor in the relationship, right? Between you and the significant other, whether man to woman, woman to woman, man to man nowadays, because we live in a you know, a different time period than what we grew up in. And we want to know, you know, is it do we feel like that respect factor is not as prominent or not as important that people think about because, you know, of it being a generational disconnection? Do you feel like, or possibly it could be a cultural unteaching? You know what I mean? Or do you?
I really do think it is. I think it's more of a cultural teaching. Reason why I say this is because of the way that we've all been brought up. We've all been brought up differently, of course. You know, you got your old school people, you know, the 80s babies and stuff. the way we were brought up was totally different than the way that these 2000s and on to the 20s have been or are being brought up. When it comes down to respect, I think that has changed a lot within our society. I think that we kind of like lost a little of what it really means to have respect for an individual, and much less to have respect for ourselves and to know what it is that we're expecting from other people as far as that respect is concerned. And that right there, that kind of falls through when it comes down to that. If you don't have enough respect for yourself, if you don't know how to actually demand respect or get the respect that you deserve from others, then how is it that you're going to really be able to prosper that respect or gain that respect from others in a relationship, friendship, whatever ship that you have, situationship, anything, you know?
Yeah.
So as far as respect, that goes without saying. It definitely is a really big part in any type of relationship that you have.
Well, knowing and doing all of that, we're going to the next topic then, since you see sum it up similar. With having the respect factor, or once you get that respect and trying to get that established more and more every day within your relationship, I feel like it also comes down to you having to know that significant other, right? Because a lot of days nowadays in these times, we don't really know.
Take the time to know our significant other.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you're so true about that. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard girlfriends that I've talked to, they're like, oh, I just met this dude. And, call me old school, I say talking, but now it's something different, I guess, when it comes down to it. But I remember when we were talking, it meant that you could talk to this person, and you could talk to another person, and they could do the same thing, Now it's like if you're speaking with one person and you're talking to that one person, oh no, they can only talk to you, if you hear about them talking to somebody else, oh my gosh, that person's a cheater. Like how? And y'all ain't even in a relationship. Like chill. Really, just chill. Like, if anything, you need to be like, oh well, since he or she is, doing their own thing, let me rephrase it. You know what? They did say that they were just talking to me. We're not even really serious in a relationship. That person never even spoke about anything going towards anything serious. So let me not take you that serious, even though your feelings may be hurt because you was really betting on that one person. You need to have some self-respect for yourself, some self-love for yourself to know, you know what, there's something better out there. Not in a spiteful way either. But just so that like, you know what, there's more out there that I can, maybe this is not where I need to go. And I think that's another thing too. Like a lot of us, we get so strung up on one person, oh, I'm talking to this guy. I mean, I think he's the one because he's saying everything else right. And he's taking you out and he's doing this and everything else is like, on point. And you don't know what else he could be doing. Heck, you might be like the third or fourth chick that he done did that with. He's just really good at making sure that he takes care of his women, But that doesn't mean that he doesn't like you or he doesn't care for you. That just means you're not the only one. So instead of you sitting up here like, oh my gosh, he's cheating or he a dog and stuff. No. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, it's very
that's what we try to,
That's where I think that's where it comes in at, because it's like you're only a player. Okay, you're out the game when you're in a relationship. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as you're out of a relationship and you're playing the field trying to see who it is that you want to be with, you're a player. Okay, so you hate the player, hate the game.
Sure.
Yep, that's a fact. And definitely looking on that spiritual side, like we said, excuse me, they you gotta be careful with people, like you said earlier, that, there's some people they know how to gauge it. You know what I mean? And we know that, like I said, growing up in our household, that was something that was always being taught. Be careful who you're around, what you're around, because it gives you that energy, and vice versa. And you can absorb, and they learn how to gauge it, so that way it some people can lead you to doors that you don't want to be led to, and they don't have that power to open it up fully. But if they just crack it open a little bit, or not going to mess with you just so you can go through it, then that'll put you in either something that you needed to go through, you know what I mean, to better yourself, you know, whether good or bad in that action. But it could be the other way as well. It could be a negative thing for them to gain whatever and go, you know, from there to whatever else or whomever else that they see fit, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's that's definitely wise words and good advice, mom, because that a lot of women and a lot of people in these times don't think like that, don't see like that, you know.
Sure.
So, yeah, you got one more before we go to the third?
No, I'm saving the last one. Let's go. I'm
I
ready.
got you. I know you had questions, so I want to make sure you get those in.
I got you.
But yeah, so but in doing all of that, knowing, you know what I'm saying, your partner spiritually and mentally, you know, of course, physically it comes natural. So that is, you know, something we don't even really mind because people going to like what they like no matter what. And
Mm.
you know, but in that, you know what I'm saying, you got to also ask, or we ask here, you know, in coming to prime companionship, are you comfortable with your significant other to the point where, you know, you can express your emotions and concerns with that person and it not come back at you as a hurtful thing or you know, negative thing of impact to you and your growth and you know, or also, you know, are you comfortable with your significant other with expressing yourself, your true self, you know
Uh-huh.
what I mean, day in day out and being, you know what I'm saying, good in their company when you do this. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people aren't. A lot of stories we hear from both sides, men and women, that they aren't. And then are you, you know, safe? You know, are you, do you feel, you know, secure with safety, not just not in your with your emotions and everything, but you know, of course, physically and as one mind, body, and soul. You know what I mean? Do you feel safe with that person? Are you comfortable that way? You know, because we feel like that's a lot of things that people overlook nowadays.
Sure do.
Yeah, definitely. Or I wouldn't even say so much overlook. I just think that in some aspects, again, it's something that is looked at differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talk about security. Some people look at security being in a different way. Like, is he gonna like not hurt my feelings?
Mm-hmm.
Type of security, or I need somebody that's gonna be able to fight my battles, like physically. You
Mm-hmm.
know, type of security. Or will he protect me and keep me safe?
Mm-hmm.
From harm. Type of security. He's always going to look out for me. Type of security. So in all aspects that you talked about, yeah, there are like different ways that you can look at it. But overall, I can honestly say in the relationship that I'm in right now, like all of those hit. I've been in, of course, we all know we've all been through relationships, and I've been through my relationships in the past, been married before. I can't even say, even with my husband, that I had this much openness with my significant other. And that's sad to say because, of course, when you're married to somebody, you're supposed to have that wholeness.
Right.
And I really didn't know what it was. That's another thing too. Like a lot of us, I think, as we grew up, it's like we try to do things too quickly. Instead of like giving us ourselves some time to actually go through the motions of it, just to experience it. Like prime example, I'll use myself as an example. When I was young, 16, I want to say from 16 all the way up to like 20. Okay. It was nothing about love, 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 love. I want to be in a relationship, even though I was graduating, I should have been focused more on, what am I going to do after graduation? Not saying that I wasn't, and I was just all into a boy. It was just that my mind wasn't as focused on my education as much as it was like, oh, well, when I leave from here, how's my life going to be? I'm going to have a boyfriend and we're going to live together, like just making up stuff in your head because that's what you anticipate or you want for yourself,
Right.
you know? So me, I want to say, like, in a sense, after that came, as far as me wanting to be in love, then guess what happens? You get a boyfriend. And then, of course, sometimes you end up doing things that now when I think back, I'm like, I was so stupid. Like, why the hell did I do that?
Right.
But I did it out of love because you thought that that's what it was.
Right.
Right.
Come to find out, you just played for a fool, but you didn't know any better.
Right.
Here it is, boom, all of a sudden you get pregnant. So now your life had you before your life really even, not saying that it like ended, because having a child does not end your life at all. It just changes it a lot. Instead of it
Right.
being more about you and you being able to focus on you, now you done turned all of that focus onto another human being. So again, you don't have time for yourself to actually focus on yourself. Okay. Now, one kid, if you're smart, you'll just stick with one kid and you'll learn from your mistake, or not even so much mistake, but you'll learn from, what you've done before and learn to be like, you know what, I know I don't want to do that again. Or the next time that I go through this, I want it to be a whole lot better. So you make better decisions going forward. But if you're not thinking that, then of course you're not going to make better decisions. And guess what? You're stuck right back in the same thing. Here comes baby number two. Now here it is. You again, you don't have time for yourself. Not only do you not have time for yourself, but you're sitting here trying to struggle with another human being, and one that you definitely have to worry about later on when baby comes out. In relationships, I see a lot now of the men wouldn't be taken care of like a child. I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not saying all of them. And we do end up having these men. We think that they're all big and macho. They're going to protect us. Like I said, again, you need to know what it is that you really want, ladies, because if you really don't know what it is that you want or what you want, then you're going to end up with just almost anything, because of the fact of how your feelings are. And I'll be honest, like when it comes down to us females, we are very emotional when it comes down to a guy. Like, prime example would be, even though we didn't like the way he dressed and we liked everything else about him, you know what I'm saying? We would think that we'd be able to change that about him. Like, oh, you know what? After I get with him for a good work, we'll go shopping together and I'll dress him up real good and all this other stuff. I mean, that's just a skim of the outside of what, most of us think. But basically what I'm trying to say is because of our emotions, because of how we feel about a man, it allows them to be able to get away with other things, or we tend to not see what we need to see. Trying to cover it up and be like, oh, well, I got somebody. He might not be perfect in doing this, that, and the third, but he's perfect in doing that. Well, this, that, and the third that you just mentioned might be really important in your relationship further down the line. But right now, you're not thinking about that.
Right.
You're not thinking about that because you're thinking about how, he makes you happy and he's doing this and he's doing that. But it's not the importance of the relationship, really. So when you rush the whole situation, it kind of really makes it to where is that you're not giving yourself time to actually get to know the person, to actually get to know yourself, to know where this relationship is even going to go. There's a lot of relationships that actually aren't bad at all, but they end up still breaking up. Why? Because of the choices that they decided to make in their life. Well, I want to go this way and pursue this. Well, I want to do this and pursue that. Well, you know what? I don't want to stop you because I love you that enough to not want to stop you from ruining your dreams. We might have to be like goodbye for now.
Yeah.
We can still be friends and stuff like that, but goodbye for now because I don't want to hold you back from something great, and I don't want you holding me back from something great.
Last question for you is this: we know the 10 Commandments, but if we were to have 3 commandments from you in regarding relationships, what would your pet peeves be?
Oh,
I like that question. That question is dope.
in relationships alone, or are you talking about marriages as well? Like, is that including marriage?
That's including.
Okay. Because I mean, definitely, you should not commit adultery. I feel like even in a relationship, you shouldn't even really be doing that. But of course, I mean, you're not sacredly bonded to this person. So I guess society makes it like it's okay because you're just in a relationship. Where I feel like this, I mean, why cheat? I mean, if you really like this person and you don't want to lose this person, but you know that, well, you're not ready to be in a relationship that this person is wanting or to give them what they want, then let them go. Like, let them find, I mean, that's your loss. Sorry to say it, but it's your loss. Because either way, I feel like it's going to be your loss anyway when she finds out or he finds out that you're doing what you're doing on the side. And it's really going to make your character look even worse when you can make yourself look better by just walking away from the situation or getting out of the situation, being honest, basically.
Right.
Just being honest, period. Another commandment, I mean, thou shalt not lie, but I don't know. I want to say like every one of them have an aspect. I feel like God knew what when he placed those commandments down. And I feel like when it comes down to those commandments, it don't just go for like a marriage, it goes for like all types of relationships that you'll have throughout your life and the way that you should live your life morally. So you should actually really be paying attention to all of the commandments, really, and deciding upon yourself which ones are more important to you. Because me, I feel like every one of them is. But what stands out to me the most, yes, would definitely be like adultery. I can take you lying, but I mean that's a form of lying too. But I can take that. But once you cross that with me, and especially after I've given you my all, and I'm thinking that you're giving me your all, like I would be really devastated with that. I mean, to me, that's like I should have the right to be able to kill you. So.
I literally was like saying that at the tip of my tongue, and you just said it at the same time. Like,
yes.
like that gives me like till death do us part. Somebody about to fucking go.
They should be like, Your Honor, but he did. Oh, he did that. Oh, that's adultery. Okay, okay. Free to go, Miss Medley. Thank you.
That nigga. Fuck it.
But you still got what? You still got one more to drop, right? Ever? Yeah, you still got
one more.
Huh?
One more. You have one more commandment of you. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing was like if you had any commandments from your personal experience that pertain to relationships, what would they be?
Oh, okay. I said that one was not commit adultery.
Lying, you stated in a sense.
Lying. Oh, the false prophets. I think because I mean, y'all relate now the false prophets. Come on now.
Yeah.
Don't be fake. Just be all the way real. Like, because that's the only way I'm gonna really get to know you. Just be all the way real. Don't be fake. Don't act like you're one person to me and you only want to be around like that one person around me, but when you're around somebody else, you act totally that. It's not gonna work for me. And definitely what's in the dark definitely comes to light, and I've had it where it's that somebody has played that with me for like years, okay, like years, where I was like, when you're with me, you're like somebody totally different, but when you're around other people, even if you are with me, I see that other person. I don't see that same person. So what is it? And ladies and gentlemen, like know the difference. Know if this person is really being false with you, or if it's just that they just know how to turn one switch off and one switch on. Be like, hey, you know what? This is my socializing group, so I'm only going to give them but so much of myself. And yes, I act totally different around them. But when I'm with you, oh no, it's all about you. It's this, that, and the third. Or even if you see them with their homies and stuff like that, and they act in a certain way around it because they with their homies. But at least you know that you're not seeing like a bipolar person. You're not seeing somebody who has like multiple personalities, and they're trying to juggle themselves among them three. You see that same person in each of those different aspects. You still see that person shine.
That's all right. Yeah, baby girl. Shoot, man. Let them know if you want to where to follow you at, and if there's anything else you wanna, what I'm saying, let them know that's on your heart. You know what I mean? Because we really,
on my Facebook or Instagram, but you can always hit me up on Facebook or Instagram under Evrin Evrin Medley Medley, or Evrin Chanel Evrin Shanell at Instagram. And that's all I pretty much have for you guys. I mean, again, you'll probably won't see anything because I really don't post that much.
She be singing though. She be singing. She harmonizing. She writing. She's a writer. So she has many talents. You know what I mean?
You'll see a little bit of me on my page, definitely. But just always like inbox me if y'all ever tuned into this show. Inbox me, let me know what y'all think. Give me some, some comments, questions, anything. That way it'll help me, better going forward. Next time we decide to do this,
Yeah, for sure.
that I'll be better prepared and I'll have more insight, for anybody
You're
that
very,
wants to hear my side of the story or, an opinion about something. So,
yeah, that's all right. We appreciate you here at the King's Council.
For real,
Big
thanks so
sis.
much.
Thank
appreciate you guys for having me.
you. Of course, of course. I'll definitely hit you up later, and then I'll let you know when everything drops because it's definitely coming out. You know what I mean? Very soon. And
Oh, yeah.
make sure everybody tune into the kingscouncil.com. Kings with a Z. You're the kingscouncil.com. Okay. So, and you got stuff exclusively there that you're gonna have to tune into is where you can get, you know what I mean, more in depth on this conversation here and everything else like that. 'Cause you're only gonna get a little bit of it, you know what I mean, on the YouTube channel, which you can follow at the Young Kings Council. But you better stay in tune all the way at the kingscouncil.com. And you definitely catch more of Big Sis Evrin. You know what I'm saying? So we thank you so much. Thank you for taking the
Thank you.
time out. Thank you for battling through. Yes.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. It was a lot
It
of
was
fun.
fun. Yeah. It always
Appreciate
is.
you.
We love you and we thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Tell
ma'am.
everybody over there, say hey, all that, you know what I'm saying? And
Hey,
we'll catch up with you later, all right?
all right.
All right.
All right, see
Bye.
you later.
Bye.
See you later. Bye, y'all.
It's the time for you bastard.